Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Douglas and Diggets, it's your man Stack 908, aka the Dig Dugger himself. So today we're looking at Furious Rajang, the other part of the raging Furious duo, the angry guys, if you will. I'm going to do something that I didn't think I was ever going to do in my life. Now, you remember the last video? I said I only fought 3 Bracky with success and then Cardon another one. Well, I'm doing even less this time. I've literally fought this monster once, and I'm going to attempt to teach you what you need to learn about how to fight this monster and the things you need to be watching out for. Again, like in my last video, I thank everyone who actually assisted me in the things that I got wrong in the comment section. I'm going to be kind of doing that in this time as well. Now, I kind of feel like I'm a little okay with doing it, with only fighting it once, because I walked away from this fight. Yeah, at first it took me a while to like kind of warm up to him, but I kind of feel like Furious Rajang is easier than regular Rajang. Like, dead serious. I know this sounds really odd when you think about it, but the way in which they did Rajang in this game, I was hoping that Furious would be like that, but more, and he's not. They actually took certain things away and implemented what the Furious Rajang himself actually has. Like, they both go on rampages. The thing is, he doesn't have a tail, so you can't stop the rampage by hitting him in the tail. But to be very, very, very fair, I don't really know a whole lot of people who actually do that. Most people just continue beating his face in anyway, you know what I mean? I do. When I fight Rajang, I'm not going for the tail when he gets enraged. I'm just going to continue beating him up. I'm not going to go out of my way to hit a part that's kind of hard to hit anyway, because he's moving around all the damn time to potentially get my face knocked up when I can just beat him up to begin with. So, for Furious, that's what you do. You just keep hitting him in the head. Whenever he gets enraged, just keep hitting him in the head, because he technically doesn't have a tail. I don't know why he doesn't have a tail, but he doesn't have a tail. Like, he cut it off himself. I don't know. He ate his own tail, something, not sure, but whatever. Anyway, so Furious Rajang. So, I guess this is a good time to say that Furious Rajang, he has a couple of new attacks. Let's talk about his new attacks. He has this one attack where he'll jump in the air. Well, first you can see it charging from his mouth. You have to look at him kind of carefully. If you look at his mouth, you'll see that he kind of charges a bit of electricity in his mouth. Then he jumps to the sky. Then he shoots like an arc of electric balls of electricity in an arc on the ground. Now, the perfect example, well, a great way to kind of mimic this would be to look at how scarred young Garuga does. You know how he jumps in the air and he shoots his fireballs along the ground. Furious Rajang will do the same thing, but it'll be electric balls. After he shoots it, they have an initial impact, and then they explode after about a second or two. Like, all the places where the electric balls landed, they themselves will explode individually after about a second or two. So that's actually something to really, really note for it. Now, outside of that, he has a couple of new pinning attacks. He has 2 pinning attacks, the 2 notable ones, I should say. If you're watching along in the video, that pinning attack, the first one already happened. That's the pinning attack he will do whenever he's not enraged and supercharged up, where it looks like the one you've seen in the trailer, but he's missing the bit where he like looks at you and then hits you with a whole lot of electricity, jumps thousands of feet in the sky and smack you down. That attack hurts a lot. The same attack where he's not enraged, when he does it, doesn't really hurt that much. I mean, if you're like in critical health, you may cart from it, but other than that, it's not a huge deal. Also, the same thing happens, not the same thing, but if you remember when fighting Standing Rajang, whenever he would do his pinning attack, and then if he wasn't enraged, you know how he walks up on you, and then like he punches you or whatever, if he's not enraged, you can back roll out of that, and you're safe. The same thing happens in this regard too. So if you're in the pin with him not being enraged, he will throw you on the ground, he'll walk up to you and try to punch you. You can back roll out of it, and you'll be okay. If you don't, you're probably going to take a fat card, because that attack itself, that punch, does a lot of damage. But again, if he's not enraged, you can just back roll out of it, side roll out of it, whatever. You're not really going to be fazed by it at all. Now, if he is enraged, it's the one where he looks at you and he like hits you with a whole gang of electricity and then smacks you down. That attack, I've been hit by it, but I'm willing to bet that it probably won't kill you at full health, but it's going to get you kind of close. You know what I mean? Because later on in the video, you'll see that I actually got hit by it. I did get saved with the Dust of Life, but the Dust of Life didn't bring me to full health, and I still kind of survived the smacking. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it still hurts. I'm not saying purposely get hit by this attack. I'm saying it's a thing that he will do, and he will do it quite often. He makes lots of attempts to actually pin you down. So it's something you really want to watch out for. Continuing on with him being in his enraged state, he has a couple of different attacks. If you guys remember where he'll punch the ground and then kind of like swipe it to the side. I know that sounds very weird. I don't have a name for the attack. Like he'll punch, swipe the ground like he's throwing sand, you know, or like pocket sand, or like he kicks up sand or something like that with like, oh my god. I have to show you guys on the screen. Anyway, with that attack, he now has ability to actually like cancel it into other attacks. Like he'll start it and then he'll end it with a beam, or he'll end it with like a pin, or like multiple different other attacks. It's actually kind of cool. Giving him a few other combo options. Like if you actually pay attention to the video, he actually does it a lot in this one area right here. I'm actually looking at the video myself. He does it quite a few times in this area, and I actually sat back and I was like, wow, it's kind of cool that he actually has the ability to do so. So he has the ability to mix up his standard attack suites with a multitude of different things, especially other attacks that you probably wouldn't see him use in combination with other attacks, because he usually does them as standalone. So there's that particular factor to it. But honestly, I think that's all I can really think about when it comes to his new attacks. Again, if I'm missing anything, guys, please put it in the comment section, so that way, you know, people can actually learn a thing or two. Because I feel like, you know, just like any monster, you're not gonna learn everything you can learn from a monster by fighting it only one time. But I really didn't have time to grind it out when I have like this huge project that I'm working on, and it requires as much time as I can possibly give it to do it in the shortest time as possibly can do it in. Nevertheless, so with that said, let's wrap up really quickly about Fierce Rajang. Like I said before, I don't think he's more dangerous than his standard Rajang counterpart. I've had more trouble fighting him. I didn't cart in this one. I got close a couple of times, but I didn't cart. There's a lot of things in here that I kind of wish I did change as a player, because, well, to be fair, the last time I actually played this game was Ruiner Nergigante. Like after I made that video, I stopped playing the game cold turkey. So I'm not like the sharpest. I'm kind of rusty, but the fact that he couldn't beat me, I kind of feel like he's a little weaker than that of, not weaker, but he's a little easier than that of standard Rajang. I've had people tell me they had more trouble with Raging Bracky than Fierce Rajang. And the thing is, I've also had more trouble with Raging Bracky than Fierce Rajang, but I don't quite want to fight Fierce Rajang all that much. However, I will say, for those of us who do want to fight Fierce Rajang quite a bit, and in hopes to actually get some of his gear, maybe, you're in for quite a surprise. I know a lot of people haven't been talking about Fierce Rajang gear, but I, for one, think it's actually pretty good gear. Granted, it's good for a few limited people. I can see it being useful for maybe Greatsword and Longsword. Like, actually, I think just Greatsword and Longsword. And I guess maybe like bows or guns, maybe. Like, maybe you have to put a little work into it, but I kind of can see them being quite useful. But anyway, with that said, let's actually go look at the gear. Alright, so now that we're looking at the gear, let's take a gander at what it looks like. First and foremost, it looks great. It's actually lovingly the Rajang gear that we knew and love. It's the Grand Pier stuff, and it looks the part. So the aesthetic on it, quite pleasing to the eyeballs, if you will. Now, one thing I actually forgot to talk about earlier was the monster's weaknesses and things like that. I apologize, but the monster itself is weak to ice. It's kind of been a running thing that Rajang's been weak to ice. I kind of did it out of just assuming that you would already know, but nevertheless, the monster itself is actually weak to ice, and it's like its only weakness. So bring the ice weapons when you're going to fight it elementally. Other than that, bring whatever you like. Now, back to the matter at hand. So when you look at the gear, the first thing you'll notice is that it has two set abilities, Maximum Might Secret and Heroic Secret. This is where I believe it actually is going to be pretty good for weapons like Greatsword and bows, and, well, maybe not bows as far as Maximum Might goes, but like guns and things like that. Because with Heroics, if you get yourself to the Heroic state, Heroic's Secret actually gets you all the way to attack power plus 40%. As well as 150 points of defense. So that's actually huge. That's immense. Okay, that's really big. So I feel like when it really boils down to it, that right there, this one skill right here, coupled with maybe earplugs, I believe makes it a pretty decent great sword. I'm gonna say gun lance. A great sword set. But if you can work it, it could be like a really good one. But nevertheless, let's actually get into the meat and potatoes. So with Alpha, you get heroic 7, earplugs 5, maximum might 5, defense boost 3, strange, health boost 3, and stamina surge 2, and of course the set abilities. Now it's beta variant. Kind of the same thing. Heroics 5, earplugs 3, health boost 3, stamina surge 2, and 1 to heroics. But you still have the ability to make it up to 7. Now, granted, if you run full beta, this means that you're not going for heroics. And for whatever reason you're still running full beta. Don't know why. But I can see people running beta and going for completely different other suite of things if heroics is not your thing. Because, I mean, the set ability, the abilities as is isn't all that bad. It's not fantastic. It's more like B plus tier terms of abilities. I don't know. I think it looks like Glavinus to a certain extent. Nevertheless, the armor, if you're really looking at it, I kind of think like the Alpha is actually the thing to really go for in terms of the abilities and even the way it actually looks. Now, secondly, let's talk about the weapons. The weapons itself. The weapons, I gotta show you. I hate to do it, but I really gotta show you guys. So let's take a look at my favorite weapon in the entire universe, the Lance. Now, the Lance gives you 677 attack, which is up on the upper echelon of the attacking stats. That's like top 3 in terms of attack. It gives 15 affinity and 360 element. Now, if this trend continues for the rest of the weapons, which I'm sure it does because it tends to actually do this anyway, this is actually one of the best thunder weapons in the game, bar none. I mean, Safi is a thing, but other than that, like, the only thing that's actually competing with this is Safi, but Safi you have to put a lot of work into. And actually, to get to this particular point for Safi, I mean, you have to fight Safi a lot, so if you don't really want to do that, I mean, this is good. This is actually really good with the natural purple sharpness that it gives, the attack being of the highest in the particular class that it's in, and the element being pretty solid, 360. That's actually not bad at all. To get the same thing for Safi, you'd have to dedicate like maybe 3 to element in and of itself, and then of course you have to make do with the attack, the affinity, and the sharpness side, because I don't know if you can actually do this for Safi. Nevertheless, I feel like his weapons are actually quite good. Okay, so with all that being said, let's put it like this. Furious Rajang isn't, in my opinion, tougher to fight than standard Rajang, but I will say one thing about Furious Rajang, that he is honestly a nice breath of fresh air for the monster itself. I kind of feel like, I don't want to say this and actually have people think that I'm like bad at this, but I kind of feel like Fierce Rajang is honestly how I feel like Rajang should have played. Now, there's a couple of things that Rajang has that actually make him who he is, but I kind of feel like there's certain things that they gave the monster to only kind of like further its ego. I mean, yeah, the monster's a powerful monster. He can do the damage, but I kind of feel like some of the things that he does with the properties these things actually have, I feel like it's a little much. I really feel like it's a little much, and I kind of feel like Fierce is a little bit toned down. In my opinion, the best version of himself. This Iceborne Furious Rajang is the best version of Rajang, period. Well, yeah, give and take. Because I kind of feel like there's certain things that Rajang does have, even in this game, that he probably should still have. Maybe like some of his speed whenever he's in his non-enraged form, like certain things like, like I said before, where he can like back roll out of his grab whenever he's not enraged. But Fierce Rajang is supposed to be a Rajang where in which the state that he's in is already technically kind of enraged. He's supposed to be like how Zinogre can be charged up and then be enraged, so that way he has like this blue aura around him. I kind of feel like that's how Fierce Rajang should be. Fierce Rajang in and of itself should be a raged Rajang, and then he can go even further than that. And all the properties of a raged Rajang should carry over, that kind of thing. I feel like that should actually happen, because he would be a phenomenally good endgame monster to know that like he's going to be pissed off and turned up and able to kill you all the time. I feel like that's how he kind of should have been. It would have made the fight a bit more harder and in the right ways, but nevertheless, this is what we got. I kind of feel like it's okay though. Also, he does have that one attack where he would splash down and all the electricity would like, he would do this big splash with the electricity that would usually like destroy any shields in terms of stamina. That attack, he still has it, but it does not destroy any shields in terms of stamina. Like, that stamina is fine. You could block that with stride and be safe doing so. Nevertheless, I said it like 10 times already in this video. I apologize for doing it. So I don't have much else to say about Fierce Rajang. I think also I really needed to say about him. I mean, he's a good monster. He's still a good fight. The gear is still pretty good. It's not as on par as you can say Raging Brachytos, because the gear that you can actually use, the weapons you can actually use with this gear aren't as OD meta as the stuff that Raging Brachiosaurus can. Like Gun Lance is OD, Charge Blade is OD. You can use the same thing for like gunning and things like that. I mean, it's pretty OD, but for Rajang, it's limited, but it's still pretty good armor. You know, you just kind of have to rock the whole thing. That's how I feel anyway. But with that being said, everyone, it's your man's Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Thanks so much for watching this video. I understand that the video itself is technically not over, but I ain't got nothing else to say about the guy. I only fought him once. You know, it is what it is. And with that, take care. But before we go, shout out to the people who stay to after the end of the video to listen to me ramble about things that, you know, like updates and whatnot. I kind of like doing this. I really like doing updates at the end of videos as opposed to making whole videos dedicated to updates, unless the update is actually really significant and it happened in between the videos. So what I have to say today is the next video, the video coming out tomorrow, we are going to have a video coming out tomorrow because I'm going to dedicate about 2 hours after work today to completing my top 5 least favorite video monsters of the 5th generation. Honestly, all that has left to be done with it is I have to get gameplay for all 5 of these monsters. That's going to take about 2 hours, and I just have to like edit the commentary and whatnot accordingly. I mean, it's not a lot of work left to be done. I could do it in the morning, but I relegate mornings to doing other videos and stuff like that. But it'll be out Wednesday. If I can't complete it tonight, no wait, today is Wednesday. What's today? Today's Wednesday. It'll be out Thursday because of these guys showed up. Okay, so it'll be out Thursday. I'll work on it later on tonight and working on it a little bit more, put the finishing touches on it tomorrow morning, and I'll have it out for you guys Thursday morning, just how the roughly around the same time I have all my Thursday video, all my morning videos out for you guys. After that, there will probably be a video Sunday or Saturday because I need to actually have a few hours with my editor, so that way we can actually yam a couple of things out so we can talk about what needs to be talked about to make the video for him. And then after that, hopefully Monday. I say hopefully Monday. It might be like Tuesday or something like that because I'm going to need a lot of time for this. There will be that big high profile video I talked about before. So if you guys remember in the last video I talked about this high profile video. It's going to take a long time to make and everything. It might be out Tuesday or something like that. Because I'm 100% going to need an entire day to dedicate myself to editing it. And I'm spending half of the Sunday, I believe, working on it in terms of like all the other things up until the editing process. So hopefully if everyone leaves me alone, because it is quarantine, shout outs to the corona, not really shout outs, but like with the coronavirus, everything is quarantined, so people can't really bother me as often as they used to. I should probably get a lot of extra editing work done. Hopefully that's the case. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the video.